We've got 26 acres of the site here, and about 20 of that is outside space, green space and a space for nature. Have a number of plans and strategies which we pull together, I would say, in quite an informal way to deal with the day-to-day management of the land we have on site. So we have we have an overall museum strategy which deals with the whole of the museum in terms of visitors' engagement and how we look after what we have here. And then within that we have a more specific conservation management plan. I would say we're quite informal and quite a loose plan. I think we know broadly what we want to do, but the majority of what we do want to do, and going back again, is quite intensive in terms of manpower. We can have the best plan in the world, but if we only have 2 or 3 people coming to help us when the plan says that ideally we'd have had 20, we are reliant on a volunteer pool. So I think the plan has to be quite flexible, and we know the broad objectives, but within that, on a yearly basis, it largely depends on the manpower we can bring in to do that. So I think informally, I think is probably towards the more informal end of the plan would be the way I would summarise it. We've talked about the formal informal. I think what we've learned over a period of time is that you cannot be too rigid in your plans, particularly when you're talking about managing an outdoor space, because you're dealing with something inherently is natural. So that it changes. So the seasons can be different. For example, we can have just going back to volunteers and the importance of volunteers. We do have set days where our volunteers are due to come in on site. But if they come in on a day when there's high winds or it's bad weather, we cannot crack on with things as we would like to. So that's just, I think we just have to be realistic that we're dealing with an outside space in a natural environment, and that in it is inherently unpredictable. Our projects and the way that projects evolve are largely based around how much manpower we can bring in through the volunteer pool that we have here. We're about 2 years in now of this informal 5-year plan. We're probably a little bit ahead of ourselves, and that is reflective of the fact that we've had a lot of help this winter just gone with volunteers to help us do that. Everywhere we look around the site, where we've done some work, there are noticeable benefits which we do hear back from our visitors. So that as I say inspires us to carry on doing the work we do. We do of course monitor visitor numbers, and we're a public visitor attraction, so we want visitors to come here and enjoy this great museum. I think we don't need to look very far to see the benefits, really, if I'm honest, which is great. I think we are very mindful of the feedback we get from our visitors, and we're very encouraged and very pleased that some of the feedback we get at the moment is, based on some of the work we've done, is positive. So people visiting here and coming here on a regular basis are seeing the improvements and seeing the changes that we're making. So there's not really a formal process to gather that, but I think the informal feedback and the informal comments we get back are positive and inspiring us to carry on the work we're doing.